Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, and I have a great guest. I have a really interesting story. I've got a product story this time, and it's on Heart Soul Heat, which is an awesome honey, I hear. I haven't had the chance to try it yet, but I damn well will. And I've got the founder, Raul Benavides. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
All right. That Spanish that I took in high school and college wasn't completely wasted. Raul, welcome to the show.
Okay, great. Thanks, man. Thanks to be here. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Heart Soul Heat. That's such an awesome brand name in and of itself. And from what I understand, I think it was your father or grandfather that created this. And it's basically, a spice and then the sweetness of the honey. Tell me a little bit about the story about how this was created.
Yeah. I'm one of those people with entrepreneurship kind of in their blood. My grandfather had many companies when my mother was growing up, and I think 1953 he founded this candy company called La Gardenia, which means the garden, and it's still running, still in the family.
Nice.
So that's kind of always kind of been part of my family story. My parents came to the country in 1970. I was born in 72, and I grew up in Chicago. And they had
I got to stop you there because if you were in person, I would hug you. I was born in 1969 and I was born in Chicago. So we're like brothers, man, from another mother. Yeah. Anyhow, sorry, I had to get that in. Go ahead.
My parents had a restaurant for a time. My father, everyone in my family's really entrepreneurial in general. And I'm one of those people who I've never had a job. I'm 50, and when I was 4 years old, I had the dream of wanting to be a photographer. So I did my first internship in photography when I was 16. And I had that career for 30 years. So I worked in photography kind of in the heyday of film. Traveled the world, shot portraits for magazines, CEOs, musicians, everyday people. It was awesome. But digital kind of changed it, and the budgets kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2008. I opened up a Grip House, which is like a lighting rental company.
Yeah. I live like 30 miles from Hollywood. You'd think I know this, but anyhow, go ahead.
So I ran that for 10 years. It was wonderful. It's very successful. I met tons of people. But that kind of like all things, kind of I think about myself as a creative entrepreneur, and I don't wrap up my self-worth or my ego in what I'm doing. What I'm always interested in doing is starting something new and something challenging. So that's kind of that ended, and then I started all kinds of other stuff. I used to have a record store. I started a bug farm. I wanted to get into crime scene pickup, kind of stuff. And then I started.
You wanted to pick up girls at crime scenes?
No.
Okay. I do cover true crime for Podcast Magazine. We can go down that road.
No, I sort of briefly started this company called Hoarder Help. And I would help like extreme hoarders clean up their house, or I should say, I would help their families remove all the stuff. And I'm a person that's kind of driven by curiosity.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, I've always wanted to do something with more reach.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about CPG, which is it's called consumer packaged goods. I've been thinking about CPG my whole life, and I just never really had the opportunity. Not that I really had the opportunity. I was busy, and I was happy. So it's kind of like sometimes things happen, and COVID happened, and it
I heard of that.
It gave me the opportunity to work on this, and I just happened. I mean, sort of weirdly, accidentally. It is a really exciting time to be in CPG. Really, lots of wonderful brands doing cool stuff, and I'm kind of right in the middle of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I love the entrepreneurial aspect. it sounds like a lot of the work and entrepreneurial pursuits you did before um um now I'm gonna get the name wrong. Heart, Soul, Heat. Yeah,
Yep.
I got it right that time.
Yep.
Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe I won't, because
Yeah.
usually it's my mistakes that I leave in there. Um, but a lot of the entrepreneurial pursuits that you went through were more service based. The photography, even the grip, the
Yep.
hoarding is definitely a
Yeah.
service based
Yep.
business. You usually, and I could say myself, if you get into that service side, you kind of stay in that. What gave you this great motivation to say, I want to get in CPG and I want it to be, one of my family's products?
Yeah. Well, it's in a really weird but truthful way. I had a dream about my grandfather.
Hmm.
I had a dream about my grandfather, and the name Heart Soul Heat, Ghost Honey, the whole thing came into focus in this weird way that, like, I was always calling it the muse. The creative muse knocked on the door, and I was in this place where I could actually listen.
Hmm.
Nothing was going on. There's, the thing about COVID, I know, aside from the massive loss and death and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
is that it reset people's clock about what's important,
Force
and
people to pivot. Yeah.
yeah, but also it removed a bunch of exterior uh distractions.
Hmm.
Friends you don't need, places that, things. It kind of changed everybody's reality,
Yeah.
because they were forced, in a certain way, you were forced to deal with your life. If you were in a happy spot, you
Hmm.
were you were okay. But if you were in some other troubled spot, it ripped those things open. And for me, I was longing for a project,
Hmm.
and this thing just totally came in, and I was just mature enough to field it, and
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, it's kind of that happened, and I felt like a calling. So I just started working in the kitchen, and I cook every meal at my house, for me and my wife, anyways.
Hmm.
But it's just and I'm very comfortable in the kitchen. I'm one of those people. Um, I don't have any sisters,
Hmm.
and I'm the oldest son, and I always ended up in the kitchen with my mother and her friends, because
Yeah.
that was like the fun. They were having fun, and I wanted to hang out with them. So I'm really comfortable in the kitchen, no matter what.
Yeah.
So the idea of ghost honey, and this idea of a spicy honey uh, product that I could take national, well,
Hmm.
like all the red lights just turned on, and they went from red to green, and I was in. It was
Yeah.
it, and it just kind of, I mean, I've started that, and I haven't really looked back. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I always love the entrepreneurial story, especially because branding is about the story. What's the story behind it? And I guess COVID wasn't all bad. You got this great idea, and I actually got sober during COVID. True story.
yeah.
But but going back to the more important thing, which is the ghost honey. Tell us a little bit more about the story behind it. Why your grandfather created it. Was it ever on the market before? Or was it always a family thing? Because sometimes you hear these awesome family stories where some great grandmother made like this awesome spaghetti sauce that nobody ever had, and for like 8 decades it got passed down, and all of a sudden somebody had a light bulb and says, hey, we could jar this and sell it. Was it like that or something else?
It wasn't like that necessarily. But my grandfather was a candy maker.
Hmm.
So, like, it's kind of like it wasn't really about the ghost honey, because it wasn't even ghost honey. It was just like sweet, spicy sauce. It wasn't necessarily formulated like that, and that's not anything that ever went to market for him. That's
Hmm.
his company only does hard candies. Think of it like a Mexican Brock.
Right.
Remember the company Brock, like that?
Hmm.
That's kind of how that La Gardenia is. And but I had this dream, and it all just kind of came in. I mean, it's just one of those, like, funny things that it just all came in, and I started working on it. And there is this part about sweet heat combinations. I
Hmm.
thought about it, like, in this way of, like, democratizing flavor.
Hmm.
I wanted, like, I wanted someone to buy a bottle,
Hmm.
and then to transform something cheap into something special.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my motivation was. Like, you know, I wanted to take flavor, um, and kind of like this gourmet sensibility away from people who read, you know, like Food and Wine magazine, and bring it
Yeah.
down to everyone. You know, that's what I was thinking. It's like it's the college student, you know, eating the cheap slice at 4 in the morning, but doesn't really know how to cook,
Yeah.
but can heat up something and then drizzle some ghost honey and make it something really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I am not a cook like you. Fortunately, my wife is an awesome cook. But I'm the one with the superior palate. At least she tells me that. And these combinations of like sweet and salty, the citrus and the chocolate, the spice, the ghost pepper, as you say, and then the sweet honey. Those have gotten really popular, over the years. So even though it may be, I wouldn't say cheap, but inexpensive to both make, produce, and buy, it's almost sounds like a gourmet type of item that you would find, you wouldn't find in Ralph's or Jewel Osco, that you would, find in like this specialty store or something like that. Yeah, how can people find this ghost honey out there?
Well, I I'm kind of moving slowly. I mean, the grocery world is kind of hard to it is a lot of
No.
education. It isn't easy.
That's
It isn't easy, but
why I
I am
stay in services and I don't go
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
products.
You know, I did earlier this year. I did this great accelerator program with Target, and their whole mission was to like teach small brands on how to get into big retail. It was super intense program, and everyone kind of learned things that you can't figure out by yourself. You know, eh, basically this back end education on how to get in. And so I've been using all those skills that I learned, and basically setting up meetings and pitching buyers. This is my this is my product. This is what we've done. On my website, I have this little form where you can request the ghost honey at a store near you,
Hmm.
which is really cool. So if you have enough of those, say like
Yeah.
uh, Jewel Osco, whatever, if you have enough of them, you have this hard facts that you can throw into your pitch, and you can be like, Jewel Osco got 120. I
Yeah.
got 120 people that are interested in buying this honey directly from from your chain. So I think that when you're pitching to buyers, facts are important.
Yeah.
Facts in your category, facts in your product. It's all about velocity.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of how it is. So I'm selling on Amazon. I'm
Hmm.
selling on this really cool men's website called Bespoke Post.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's high end. It's super cool. In Chicago, I'm at Here Market. I'm at a
Okay.
couple different places. In Minneapolis, St. Paul, where I'm from, I'm at the Dash Mart. Dash Mart
Okay.
is a
Yeah.
grocery store
Mhm.
that DoorDash has, and I think
Yep.
hopefully we're going to go national with Dash Mart. And just slowly
Yeah.
building. Yeah, a couple places on the East Coast, West Coast. My whole thing is that I want to move um, into Chicago really hard, and then
Hmm.
move into Texas
Yeah.
and into New Mexico. I have
Hmm.
lots of people who buy on Amazon from Mexico, because part of like the New Mexican uh, cultural food is something called sopapillas,
Hmm.
which are like this fried desserts,
Yeah.
and they traditionally put honey on them, but everyone's putting ghost honey on them to make them a little spicy. And so there's another like sweet spicy combination
Yeah.
that you put this product out into the universe, and the universe kind of does what it wants with it, and hopefully it gives me
Yeah.
enough feedback, and I could, yeah, use it to communicate with others.
Well, what's the vision for Heart Soul Heat in terms of, if you could look out and say this is what this product's going to be? Is it going to be, at high-end restaurants where the Gordon Ramsays of the world are using it to make, these really interesting dishes? Is it, going to be on, in a lot of households where they're using it for to put on their pancakes or to put on their donut or crackers for a snack. Is it even as stupid as this may sound, is it for mixologists that are going to use it to make that special alcoholic drink that other places don't have, or all of the above? Tell me a little bit about the vision. If you were able to just press a button and say, this is what this product would look like and how it would be consumed, what would that look like?
Well, the product is Ghost Honey. The brand
Yeah,
is Heart Soul Heat.
right.
What I would love to do, say like in my 5-year plan, I would love to have a um, small line of I call it modern Mexican products
Hmm.
because if you think about Mexican food, it could kind of it's one of those words that kind of doesn't mean anything to a bunch of people. Everyone's making hot sauces.
Yeah,
They like Americans consume more salsa than do ketchup.
yeah,
And so that I'm not interested in getting into that world, but I definitely have a vision for some unique like Mexican food products. I call it Mexican through the back door products.
yeah,
Very specialized, very much a flavor profile, very much have a story. And um, I mean, Target, Sprouts,
yeah.
you know, uh, you know, um, Whole Foods, very traditional grocery channels.
Hmm.
Um, that's what I would love. But what I'm interested the most is using Heart Soul Heat as a platform for philanthropy.
Yeah.
Imagine a special hot sauce um, that is a collaboration with Lizzo,
Hmm.
and every single dollar of profit goes into inner city music programs.
Yeah.
And there's whatever, say there's 25,000 bottles, boom, 25,000
Hmm.
bottles, and it's over. That's it. And
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that every year. I
Yeah.
mean, imagine a Dave Grohl barbecue sauce, but there's only 25,000 bottles, which disappear very quickly, and it's
Yeah.
gone. And every dollar goes back to something cool.
Yeah.
I think when I think about Heart Soul Heat, um, the products are one thing. What it creates and who it connects with is one thing.
Hmm.
What it can do
Yeah.
is that's the part that interests me. There's there isn't any. I don't know of any. Why are modern food brands not sponsoring or having a concert series?
Hmm.
You see it at breweries, you see it at these places and that places, but imagine something like that.
Hmm.
Imagine in a certain way using it to elevate and inspire. That's all I
Yeah.
care about. You know.
Well, that goes back to the whole premise of the show is the experience for the customer, experience for the community, experience for the employees, all the stakeholders of the brand, which is Heart Soul Heat. And yeah, I love the name aligned with that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many things that you could do with it. You could have, Heart Soul Heat could tie into helping low income kids, families go to culinary school.
Yeah.
Because
Of course. Of
sometimes
course.
or go and paint or do something. Because sometimes you have an artist's dream. You can't even play a ukulele, but you could cook or draw really well.
Yeah. Or feed the homeless.
Yeah.
There's so many other things. But I think when I think about entrepreneurship, it's one of those funny words that different people use it for different things. It's very the it word.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm not interested in is owning a business. And when I say that, meaning that some people that are business owners, meaning
Yeah.
that they go to work and they do the thing, and then they go home, and which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone
Hmm.
has their own journey and their own path. But when I think about entrepreneurship, I'm interested in making something that wasn't there
Yeah.
yesterday. And I don't care about failure. I know that you have to fail to get through it, to get into the place you want to go to. But to make a widget and then just go home, that sounds like a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the although it may sound like a synonymous phrase, building a business or running a business or owning a business and building a brand are two different things.
Yeah.
Many times they coincide, and many great businesses build the business and build the brand at the same time. But I love the story. I love the experience behind it. Um, in terms of the employees, I don't know. You may have two employees. You may have 2,000 for Heart Soul Heat. Yeah, how do, because one of our premises is creating that experience for the employees first so they can get behind something special, and then that says something to the customers. How do the employees share this vision and where this brand is headed?
I have one employee.
Okay,
That's
it's
my
you.
director. No, I have my director of operations,
Hmm.
and that's it. Everyone else we bring in freelance.
Yeah,
Because this grocery game requires tons of money,
yeah,
and it's just easier to be more nimble when you're not carrying about a bunch of stuff, and also
yeah.
if you don't have anything for them to do.
Hmm.
I deal with a co-packer. Co-packer, puts the product together, ships it to us. We
Yeah,
label it, get it to where it's got to go. We have a distributor that gets to the grocery store. We have a sales team that takes care of all the back end, and
yeah.
everyone's freelance because it's the only way we can do it. You know,
Yeah. And you know what? I probably misspoke a little bit because I should have used team instead of employees, because Podcast Magazine that I talked about a few minutes ago, except for a couple of people, are all freelancers.
yeah.
But we meet and there's a team and we all get behind that idea and that vision for Podcast Magazine. I would assume that your group of freelancers have an emotional stake in Heart Soul
Oh,
Heat just
of
as you
course.
do.
Yeah, yeah. And also, what's the great thing is that they're specialized.
Hmm.
So I don't ask them to do anything other than everything the thing that they're the best at.
Yeah,
So they bring their skills, and it's really nice when especially like salespeople can use their like past experience
yeah,
and not like in a certain way not work super hard. That's not the right way to say it. They can use their past experience to
yeah.
plug our brain into. Not work very hard is not what I not doesn't sound good.
Working
Meaning,
smarter, not harder,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
possibly.
yeah. Or no, not even that. What they're using is their already established connections,
Yeah,
and that which are all new to me, and they can just use it and just open up the brand to places that it wasn't hit before.
yeah, yeah. So as we begin to wrap up a little bit, for somebody like me that's never had ghost honey, somebody that may be interested in it to try it, to maybe partner with you, whatever,
Hmm.
is there a similar product out there? Is there something that you can compare it to, or is this really unique?
No, there are some other spicy honeys on the market.
Mhm.
I
But they
think
all suck.
yeah, it's not that
No, I'm
there's
kidding.
different. I think that the thing for me is that I'm really interested in um 100% American.
Hmm.
But I'm also interested in pushing the idea and it's sort of like trying to reinterpret what that means. I think we all have an idea that 100% American is this guy with a truck and an American flag, and that's not the world that we
German
live in anymore.
Shepherd. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I think it's also too like that that it like what a wonderful thing to be proud to be a proud American and to um to really tap into the resources that are here.
Yeah.
When you have a product that's only three ingredients, and they're easy to locate. You know,
Yeah.
what a blessing.
So it's ghost pepper, honey, and what's the third
And
ingredient?
vinegar.
Vinegar.
Yeah.
Huh.
So what I do is I make a mash
Yeah.
with the ghost peppers and the vinegar. Sort of like
Interesting.
stabilize it, make a mash, and then cold infuse it. Cold infuse it. Let it sit for a couple weeks, and then strain it out, and there we go.
Interesting.
It's
Very,
pretty
very simple.
very simple.
Do you worry that somebody, since it is simple, that somebody would steal that ideal in some
No,
way, shape, or form?
no, no, no. I've been in entrepreneurship my whole life. Um, no, I think that people who worry about those kinds of things,
Hmm.
they're usually people with not a lot of experience and at the beginning, and
Yeah.
I think about the world in a real abundance way. You
Hmm.
know, come and get it. This thing's hard.
Yeah.
You know, And it's just one of those things where just if you worry about people stealing stuff, you might attract it.
Yeah.
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 It's hard work no matter what. Building the relationships, all of it's super hard work. And yeah, I mean, it's if you want to build something, build it.
Yeah. Great point. Great point. I never looked at it that way, but very, very poignant answer to that. So as we wrap up, for those folks out there that want to find Ghost Honey, that may want to partner with Heart Soul Heat, how best can they find Raul and this great product and this great brand?
Yeah, heartsoulheat.com is the website. There's a store locator, and then there's that request form I was telling you right on the website too. So if you don't see it somewhere close to you, you could type in your zip code and request it at your favorite store. I love that. That makes me so happy. Um, Instagram, heartsoulheat.com. I mean, Heart Soul Heat is kind of our main channel. So we're on there all the time, and that's it. You can buy. Yeah, we're on Amazon. We're all over the place, but we're slowly building, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
There is this real vulnerable thing about making something, and something like food is everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
So it's vulnerable in this way that makes me happy, because food's about sharing.
Yeah.
It's a spicy honey, but it's not. I'm not interested in like hurting people. This isn't about.
I appreciate that,
No,
because
but
I'm a wuss when it comes to spice.
yeah, but it's also like a lot of those like a hot sauce companies with the
Yeah.
skulls and the death. That's
Yeah.
not me. I'm not. This isn't a product that's about your masculinity. This is a product that will elevate your plate,
Yeah.
and I think that's what makes me happy.
Yeah. I like that as a tagline or a brand principle. It'll elevate your plate.
Yeah, I always say drizzle,
Yeah.
and delight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is a great brand story. I'm gonna look for it in California. If I can't find it, I'll go to Amazon because I want to try it. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story, and thanks for spending some time with us today, Raul.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, what a pleasure.
Awesome. Pleasure was all mine. And thank you to all of you who joined us today. And here's hoping, as always, that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Do you need a speaker for your next conference? Maybe a facilitator for your next strategic planning or training session? A full program with expert panelists and interactive exercises for attendees? Or maybe you need an MC for your next event? I'm here to help and have the expertise to be a part of an amazing agenda for your audience. Learn more about Bader Training and Consulting at www.btcinc.net, or better yet, just contact me directly at kbader@btcinc.net, and let's talk about your next event, next training session, or next summit.